Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome by this session. It's the number 4 session in our 12 series around Teams as a platform, Microsoft Teams as a platform. So in this series, we're going to show you everything you can do with Microsoft Teams as a platform. And for today, we have a great session about workplace analytics and the stuff that you can do about empower your end users and how they can do more with Microsoft Teams. So, without further ado, let me introduce the people next to me, Harold van der Kamp and Kelly van der Laan. Kelly, can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Kelly van der Laan. I'm with eOffice, and my job description is called an adoption consultant, which means that I strive to be the bridge between IT and the users that work with it. I am a specialist on workplace analytics. And I'm joined by my nice colleague, Harold.
Yeah, thanks for that, Kelly. Yes, my name is Harold van der Kamp. I'm also working for eOffice as a business consultant, fully around the modern workplace. So how can we make sure that the employee within an organization gets everything he needs to be successful, but also to provide it in a secure and an easy way, I would say. That's really the red line during my work.
Excellent. And last but not least, my name is Jeroen Jansen and I'm a product marketing product marketing manager at Microsoft. Well, that's the start of my day. So some housekeeping rules for today. If you have a question, please use the Q&A that we have aligned for you. We will handle your questions with care, of course, and we will make sure that we answer your questions as fast as possible. So you can use that, though it's very easy to do that. So let me start with a bit of an introduction at where we are right now. If we're looking at the workplace right now, you see that the world is changing. During this pandemic, we have learned a lot on the way we are working, and we learned that the way of working has changed from working at the office, face-to-face with your colleagues, customers and partners, has switched to a hybrid world or only an online world. So if you look at, I was just talking to Kelly and Harold, they have seen each other for over a year. So this is the first time they meet up. So as you can see, this is going on everywhere. It's not only happening at our partners, but also at your customers. And also you as a customer might have not seen your co-workers for a lot of years, or for a year already. So looking at that, we believe and we see that the hybrid way of working will be the new normal. If you ask people, how do you want to work? And they say, well, I like to go to the office, but I also like working from home. Here in Microsoft, you have now a policy that you can work from everywhere. That means basically from home. And even if the pandemic is over, you can work from home. You can go to the office only when needed, but it's not mandatory to go to the office. So we see also a change in where people are going to live, right? People are moving away from the city center here in Amsterdam and moving to further places just the border of the Netherlands. So it's relatively easy to work from everywhere. Second to that, if you look at the numbers, you will see that hybrid working is here to stay. 70% of the people think, yeah, hybrid working is the new way of working and it's the new world where we reside in. What you also will see, and that's a big difference in the way we are working, is that we're now working with 5 different generations. So I have a daughter who's 17 years old. She's still at school, but when she starts working, she can do like all these multitask things, like listening to music, doing her homework, and when she starts working, eventually, basically, she can do the same. But for me, that's not doable. I need to be focused. I learned that, and that's the way I'm used to working. So the workplace is basically adapting to you. It's adapting to you as a person and adapting to you in the role that you are having and the lifestyle that you are having. And but it brings some challenges, right? It brings some challenges around how do I work? Do I work enough or do I work too much? And all with that we're going to have a look at today. So it's good that you're in this session because with Workplace Analytics and My Analytics we have some answers to that, and Kelly and Harold will show you just in a minute how to do that. So again, what I'm saying, the workplace is changing, but some things are still there, some challenges. One of these things is the time you spend on email. Like a third of your day, you're in emails. So that's a lot, right? So from the 8 hours that you work, you spend more than 2 hours of your time, almost 3 hours of your time working on email. That's a lot, right? You could do that more productive. So that's good to think about how can we change that. And also finding information is quite difficult sometimes. Managers think it's a challenge to find information, the right information. So how can we help them? It's always difficult to find the right information for you, and we are going to show you some tools what will help on that. So if you look at the workplace, what would really work for you, I think if you combine it into one single hub, that would be great, right? So have like Teams as your working environment for your team, Outlook for your personal environment, but Teams is just for working together with all of your colleagues, partners, or even with your customers. Integrate business processes. How can I have like applications that I work with integrated into Teams, or automate tasks that I do that are in a routine? So doing that, what I can do is use like things like Power Automate. And Power Automate can help me. Let's say I get like a vacation request from a coworker, and I have to check his balance. Then Power Automate can say, well, you got a new message stating, can I get a holiday from a colleague? And he will say, well, okay, the Power App will say, let's check its balance, and you only need to approve it. These tasks can be automated. And of course, there are a lot of third-party applications that you can integrate with Microsoft Teams. We've got more than 200 at the moment. So you want to bring this all together on multiple devices. So that's also key to look at. Looking at this webinar series, we divided it in 4 parts. And these 4 parts are the 4 pillars of Teams as a platform. Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, and third-party applications. If you want to know more about Power Automate, I advise you to watch the session, the 6th session on Tuesday. We will have a session on this dedicated on Power Automate, how to automate processes. Power Apps, easily built apps, low code, no code applications, what you can use, what can be extended to different platforms. So if you want to know more about that, we have you covered also sessions on this. Power Virtual Agents, looking at how virtual agents can work for you. It's a bit of a challenge in the beginning because you have to, you're talking to a computer and it's going to answer you, but eventually it will learn more. So it's going to be smarter over time. And last but not least, the third-party applications. We're going to have a session I think it's next week also, on how to work with Mural, Slido, Mentimeter and stuff like that. So how to integrate these kinds of third-party applications. So easy to deploy, already applications you might know from a website or as a desktop application can now be integrated with the Microsoft Teams. And also we have a look at meeting extensions. So how can your meetings be more effective with extending that with third-party applications. So it will be good for you to also follow that. And with that, right, productivity isn't just a tool, it's about the approach. How do you work? Yeah? What do you use the tools for? The tool shouldn't be the decider on how you work. You should be the decider on how you want to work. And the tools should provide you with the best kind of capabilities to do that. I want to show you just one little thing. And one little thing that I think is a very easy tool, and it's really something that customers can benefit from. And that is if you look at integrating SharePoint intranet sites into Microsoft Teams. And what you can do, you can pin an intranet site to that. And you think, why is that handy? Well, it's very handy because end users then have a single point where they can start. They can then see, oh, that's easy. I see what the menu is for today, or maybe the news from the company, or highlights that they might have, or what might be interested for them. So within Teams, you can have like this nice intranet site. So if you want to do that and you want to know how, you can make contact with your Microsoft representative if you have that. If not, please reach out to our partners and they're able to help you out on this and show you how to do this. It's very handy. In just a few hours time, you have this up and running for your whole organization. And with that, I would like to hand it over to Harold and to Kelly. They're going to show you more about empower the people and their teams to be the best. So over to you, Harold.
Thank you for that, Jeroen. When you take a look at your introduction, you're talking a lot about Microsoft Teams, but also about the approach that you do. You're also talking about the people and how the work changed and the workplace changed. There are a lot of things, a lot of sections going on, and that's also definitely the part of our session. And our session is mainly focused on the people and the teams, and how can we make sure that we empower them to be their best. That's definitely the central part of it. And we're using Microsoft Teams a lot for that to realize that goal. But the goal is really the people and making sure they are in their best. The slides of today will be shared. Here's a link already on the screen, and they will also be shared afterwards, where you can download these slides and also the recording of these slides. But about our session for today, what we used as a starting point is a study that has been conducted, a study called the Work Reworked study. The study really is titled also When Change is the New Normal. That's the thing that's definitely going on. It's a study that was conducted across 15 European countries. And we're not going to open the book, I would say, and go through every page. But interesting what we see in this. It's really innovation. Now is the time to double down on that one. That's definitely what they say. So that's the thing that is going on. And you see that everyone sees it around them. Disruption is simply the new normal. We see that also in our lives. It's a nice thing, it's a great thing, but it has also its challenges, I would say. Yeah. It's about our people. It asks a lot about them. It definitely asks a lot about the change, and it requires them to be resilient. How can they still move between all the things that are moving and changing? And what you see also here, maybe you recognize yourself sitting in the kitchen or at the couch or something like that. It's an okay thing, but understand that are the things going on. I don't know how it is for you, Kelly.
I'm currently working from home, and as Jeroen said, it's been a year that Harold and I saw each other in real life. So it is a momentous occasion today.
Yeah, it's a bit of a party, I would say. Yeah.
But as Harold already said, so much is changing right now, and all the quick changes, they're only going to go faster. So it asks from us that we keep moving along with it, that we have resilience in the face of all those changes. And we would like to help you to actually face those changes head on and be able to move with it instead of against it. Bend, not break, basically.
Yeah. And also make sure that I think the organization grows, but also the people can still be at their best, I would say, and not ask too much of them. I think that's an important thing.
Make it doable and enjoyable.
So digital transformation is there and is more urgent than ever. That's also what in all the studies is, what the leaders say. Yeah. We definitely want to accelerate our digital transformation. That's a fact.
We saw it last year. We were working with a lot of clients that were trying to implement the usage of Teams for colleagues to contact each other. And one of my clients actually said, with the outbreak of the pandemic, we fixed in 3 weeks. That took us what took us a year and a half before, because now we have to. So this digital transformation was mandatory for all of us. We all had to change. We suddenly were sitting at home. Some of us at the kitchen table, some of them even in the bathroom because their partner was calling clients as well. And that's going to, as we saw, this is now the new normal. And in the beginning, of course, that went really well. But eventually, of course, the children were at home. There was stuff going on. They were, cutting trees right next to your house while you were trying to do your work. It asks stuff from you, flexibility, resilience in the face of all those changes. And of course, we see that, most managers think that, working from home is actually really nice because it saves us travel times, traffic jams, but also more time for yourself and being able to be more flexible. So take an hour to do your groceries and then go back to your work and maybe work a little bit later. So it makes us more flexible. But on the other hand, some people who don't have a partner where they share their study with, for example, they are really lonely. They really want to see their colleagues. I mean, I miss Harold, but I still have somebody to talk to at home.
Yeah, but you survive, right? You survive.
I survive. Yeah. I have my husband and my dog, and that helps. Okay.
Yeah,
definitely.
But it does make the line between your private life and your work life really thin because you're suddenly working longer. Your laptop is still there, so you maybe open it in the evenings. That makes it harder, and that asks for resilience.
It is, yeah, and So with that, yeah, it's the people that's really the driving force of our business. You need them, you want to keep them, and you have to invest in them. And if you also look at other studies, if you invest in them, when they are happy in their work, they stay longer at your work. Just think if they all get into a burnout, then simply the company has nothing anymore. So it's important to understand that the world changed, the place where they're working is changing, their well-being is an important fact that you want to take action on to make sure they stay healthy and stay at your organization. Yeah. So it depends on your people, and it depends on how they can work for themselves. It depends on how they can work together, just you and me.
Yeah, or with their clients or their partners, like us with Jeroen right now.
Absolutely.
It's all three levels basically. Your business does depend on people, but it depends on basically three kind of groups: the individual employees, how they are working, but also how they're working together and how they're working externally. And from there on, this is a really complicated slide, but I'll talk you through it. What Workplace Analytics does is it helps you to improve your business, basically, because stuff is going on. We had a pandemic breakout. In the beginning, you as your company, you are trying to navigate the wild waters and see where you end up. You have to respond to what is happening right now. So basically, you're putting out forest fires. You have to ask, okay, what is going on with are my clients still getting their products? Are my employees okay? Are we really back-to-back in meetings all day, every day? This is not working. We had that in the beginning. When we're suddenly all at home, that there were moments that on Thursday afternoon, we were realizing that we had over 20 meetings already, and it was only Thursday afternoon. And that, of course, will break you at some point. So you have to respond to what is happening right now and do something about it. Then there comes the part that's the recovery, of course. That's hopefully where we are kind of right now, where you are starting to plan the comeback, people going back to work. How are we going to do the hybrid way of working? How do we arrange this with facility management? How do we place people in the office? And when are people going back? Do we have plans for that? Are managers now equipped with people working from home to coach them, to be approachable? Because if they're in meetings all the time forever, then they don't have any time for the employees. And still, of course, are the clients still getting their products? And then afterwards, when you have that going all worked out, then of course it's time. Well, the forest fire has stopped burning. Now we're going to plant a whole new forest. But how would we like the forest to be? I'm coming up with metaphors as I speak. But it's time to reimagine and shape the future. So now it's time to actually think about innovation. So where do I plant those trees? Maybe I should have like canals between them so the forest won't spread next time. You know, it's time to actually take steps towards a better future.
I'm curious about the future. What will it be for you then? What will be for you the work and life balance? Just curious.
Well, I noticed during the pandemic that I work pretty far from the e-office home office or the e-office office. And I really, really hated the traffic jams. So I'll be working from home a lot more. I was already kind of doing it, so it wasn't that much of a break for me. But the fact that I don't have to spend 2 hours a day in a traffic jam anymore, that makes my life so much better. I got so much time back. So in my case, I'll be working really hybrid. And so we'll still don't see each other a lot, I'm afraid.
Yeah, that's recognizable for me also. I think really not commuting during the traffic jams, that's a fact. I won't do that anymore. But still working for a new client or a new customer, some kind of questions, first time being there, maybe shaking hands or what kind of format will be, I think that will come back for me. Yeah. But still having a short introduction about 15 minutes or so can be online. So yeah, I think the new there will be some kind of new normal, and we have to make sure that we understand what will that be. And now there are some things in your head, in my head, but also in other people's head. There are a lot of gut feelings regarding how do people feel and what's their employee experience, and that's maybe different for you than for me, and also for you, I think.
I think for everybody it's different, right? So it also depends on the culture in an organization.
exactly.
What are you used to? Not all organizations are equipped to do this. Let's say if you're working in a hospital and say you're going to work from home, that could be quite interesting to have these patients in your home. But so it really depends on the fact how your organization is structured. If it's doable, if it's something that you can do for everybody in your organization, yes or no. And also, what you're going to talk about is that every person is different. And so everybody gets this notion and gets this feeling how they should work and want to make sure they work in the best manner. So that's, I think, something to take into account.
Even if you have the company culture between people, it may change wildly. And how do you know how they feel? That is, of course, a really big question. Right now, you have the onboarding interview when somebody comes in, the exit interview maybe when they leave. I hope you do. And then there's the engagement surveys or the...
hopefully each year.
Hopefully each year. In our case, eOffice sent out an interview, was interviewing people. How are you coping? What are the lessons that you've learned from working from home? But that's all based on gut feelings, on stories, on things that people tell. But that is not the same as actually knowing what is going on or what is happening in the collaboration between people. So do people still have time with their manager? Are they back-to-back in meetings? Do they have focus time at all? What times are they working? Are they multitasking during really large meetings?
Exactly that. Maybe the all-hands meeting. I heard companies who have it every week and then 1 hour long. Now, maybe there's a lot to tell, but
especially in the beginning of the pandemic, you see that a lot.
Definitely.
Take Microsoft into account. I can share that, I guess. We had it every Friday. We had these meetings, and now we changed it to a bi-weekly rhythm because we saw that the span of attention of people is different. In the beginning, you want to know, okay, this is all new for us. So what's going to happen? But now you have learned the fact that we know where we are. This is the situation. So there's no real news. So you're going back to different motions in that case.
If you are in a session with 250 people and they won't ask for your opinion, what are you doing? Are you staying focused? Many people don't. I know I don't. You drift off. You're doing your email in the meantime, and because you're all in all those. You have a daily stand-up every morning, but then you have a daily stand-up with your other team, and then you have a client update, etc., etc. So your day basically fills up with meetings because you don't have to I see you in the hallway, so we discuss something quickly. Everything is planned. And do you have then too many short meetings after each other? Do you have time to breathe? Do you have time to actually pick up the work that you're doing for the client? And the fun thing about workplace analytics is it provides the data that actually shows what is going on from all those experiences that I'm now recounting. So it looks at your email, it looks at your Teams chats and your video conferencing time. You can basically get a lot of information on how people are working, how they are working together, just from that information. And it may help you paint a picture that is clearer than just your gut feeling.
And I think that's the great thing. Having that kind of information at the de-identified level, at an anonymous level, is a good thing to have that on group level. And exactly what Jeroen said, we had at the beginning such long all-hands meetings. After some time you switch to bi-weekly or shorter ones. But what is the right moment to switch to other kind of meetings or shorter ones? That is things that you don't want to just take a decision on based on gut feelings. Having data that provides you valuable insight in that's exactly the thing that you get with Workplace Insights, with Microsoft Workplace Analytics. So that's the thing that we do.
Maybe you know it already, as maybe some of you are working already with My Analytics. That's the email that you get from Cortana on how you are doing and how many meetings you still have to do today, and if you are prepared and if you're taking your focus time. Many people click that away. There's also a dashboard based on My Analytics that looks at your focus, at your well-being, how are your networks built up, how many hours do you actually spend collaborating. that's a really quick overview for you as a person. Those are private. The rest of the company cannot see that information. It's just you.
Yeah.
That gives you a little bit of insight that indeed I have a habit of checking my email at 8 p.m. in the evening. And that does break up my evening. Maybe that's not a good idea. That is something that workplace
exactly
analytics
that
does.
you said. There are a lot of people just putting directly in the trash bin, I would say, and maybe that's the first reaction. But it's so valuable information because it's really to protect you and to help you, protecting your well-being, and not just sending some rubbish, I would say. So it's
And well-being is different for everybody, right? So
some
people. I love working at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
And that's because there's goede tijden, slechte tijden, and I hate that program. So for me, it's really easy to say, well, I have a half hour to do the things I like better than goede tijden, slechte tijden.
There are better times than good times.
So everybody depends on it. I think it's valuable to get the information.
Yeah,
it's just information in my perspective, what you can work with instead of. It's not that say you have to stop working at 8 p.m. No, it's just giving you ideas, what would work for you. And it also figures out what your rhythm is and if you're still in that rhythm, if you can cope with that. So.
In my case, my most productive time by far is between 3 and 4 in the afternoon. It's true. So if I need to book my focus time, for example, and I need to be creative, I'll make sure I book my focus time for the afternoon because I know that's my best time and I make my prettiest stuff then. So that's something that I learned from my analytics. Then zooming out, then there's workplace analytics, and workplace analytics does that, but then for the whole organization based on groups and trends. So it looks at how are people doing and not how is Harold doing, how is Kelly doing, but how is the Microsoft department within eOffice doing. So it zooms out and it looks at trends. So how were we doing before COVID and after? How are we doing compared to our another team? So it doesn't look at you personally, but it looks at trends and situations within the company. And then it looks at if people have, if for example our managers are making enough time for us. So that basically zooms out and looks at all that information about your well-being, about the customer focus, about the organizational resilience. But then on a higher level than my analytics. So basically it's the big brother from little brother, my analytics. And what it does, of course, it only looks at your Microsoft 365 data. So it looks at your email, it looks at your calendar, and the meetings that are in there, your Teams calls and chats. That's the information that it takes. And that's already a lot, but it is something that needs to lie next to all of your other information data. So if you're looking at, for example, sickness percentage within your organization, how many people are ill, or your sales numbers, or the interviews that you did with all your people in the organization. So your HR data. If you all put that together and you put the workplace analytics, the Microsoft 365 data next to it, suddenly you have hard data that backs up or rejects the gut feeling that you had earlier. Finally, you have some, certainty about what is going on.
Yeah. Yeah, and I already saw one of the questions coming regarding privacy. I will tell you a little bit about that and also about how it works. You already told about getting data from Office 365 or Microsoft 365. That's definitely the main data source. Getting data from your email box hosted on Exchange Online, getting data from your Teams chats, etc. So it's getting that data, it combines it with HR data. And for more the technical people, it's not based on Active Directory, it's based on your HR system. It can be AFAS, it can be Workday, some kind of system. But that has much better levels regarding who is representing to which people. And it combines that, and you can eventually also combine it then with the CRM data. But that's all as a starting point. That is collected into Workplace Analytics. And there it's de-identified and making sure that the groups are at least 5 people of a group size. And what we do, and we will tell more about that later, but also discuss with you how big must such a group be. But the minimum is 5.
Yeah, technically you can't go any lower than groups of 5 people. So your anonymity will be guaranteed. So they won't know that it's Kelly who always logs in at 8:15 in the morning instead of
maybe
8,
interesting
like we said.
information, but not what you get with WorkLife Analytics.
It's also not what the program is built for. So it's built to look at trends, at groups, at a minimum of 5 people, and you can make it 10 or 20 if you like, and that's one of the settings that we can change for you. But lower than 5, it doesn't go.
Exactly. Yeah, and then based on the data, there comes a lot of dashboards, and that are the things that we then also use to discuss those things.
Yeah.
We create executive readouts about that, we discuss it with the company, and then there comes all the change projects.
Yeah. So you become a number, basically. You're de-identified, you become a number, and you become a number on a dashboard.
Yeah, but we're not discussing numbers, I would say, but the system has numbers. We're discussing, for example, sales group A versus sales group B. That can be a discussion point. Yeah.
But before you start, of course, because you can start running queries based on information, but it is nice to know where you want to go with this. Just making dashboards because they're really pretty doesn't really work. What you would like to do is, of course, as a organization, have an idea of what is already in your organization, what is going on, what are the gut feelings, what are the numbers that you already have, what would you like to focus upon. So before you start making pretty dashboards and running queries, take a step back and that's what we do with you. We organize a discovery workshop. Insight Discovery Workshop is the full name. And we sit down with you and a couple of stakeholders from HR, IT, communication, maybe even facility management. And we look at what is going on within the organization and what would you like to focus upon. Based on that, we come up with scenarios, stuff that's going on, and we can start building from there. But before you start, it is good to, one, be absolutely sure of what Workplace Analytics is capable of, because you probably have to talk with people from compliance as well. So the security, privacy is a thing. So we make sure that you are completely aware of what is possible, and then from there on, okay, and how would you like it to help you? And that's what the Discovery Workshop is all about.
Yeah. And about we always do that with the two of us. It's Kelly and I. It can also be Kelly and another colleague of us, but it's there are so many topics, and it can be that some topics will be privacy related, it can be topics will be more HR or more technical related. But having two of us is also the minimum, but that also makes it fun and makes it great.
Also, one person can write while the other talks.
That's a fact.
And from there on, we take it further because okay, we have a plan, we know what we want to do, and then what happens? What can we do for you as e-office? Well, first of all, we make the pretty dashboards for you. We make sure you get the insights based on Workplace Analytics data, and from there on, we give you advice on this, because then you have a pretty dashboard, but you still have to be able to read it and come to conclusions, the narrative underneath the data, what is going on. We help you to take the narrative out to actually build your story, what your company is going through, and from there on we make a plan with you on how to, okay, there are some changes that you would like to happen. How can we do this? Because if you are going to change something within your organization, and that's of course my thing as an adoption specialist, but make sure that your people are aware of what is going to change. Because if we are now going to look at our meeting culture within the organization, because that's one of the topics that came up, how are we going to implement that? How are we going to make sure that our people actually know what's going on and they like it, they are okay with it? So make sure you also talk to the people, because your business relies on people. And once you've done that, the change management, we've helped you with that. Of course, you start to see changes, your meeting culture gets better, people have more hours in a day, they have time for innovation now. You can take the next step as a company, because we're now going to imagine the future. And then it's of course time to actually look at the next step in your process. So either make a course correction on what we're doing already because it's not working, or it's working too well, I don't know. So take a step back and do an advanced analysis and start looking at other deeper points that you would like to address as a company.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think an important thing with that is that we do it together also with you, together with the company that we do it for, because we need to understand your culture, and there can be valuable insight, but still you have to also combine it with your gut feelings or what you know about the company, what things are already going on or what happened in the past that maybe can influence it. So it's really collaborating with each other on this one.
Yeah, because every number has a story, right?
Exactly.
So you can have the greatest insights, but you have to figure out what does it mean.
Exactly.
Why is it the fact that this number is, let's say, 60 and not 40, and what's the story behind it? Because sometimes a higher number can be quite good, because some people like working that manner or in that way, and that's always good to have that figure that out. What's the story behind the story even?
Yeah.
So, and you take that also into account.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One of the good examples that we have for this is, for example, when you see the data shows that people are multitasking during meetings. So you are in a meeting right now, you're looking at this session, and in the meantime you're working on your emails or you're sending people chats. That is a fact, but the story behind it can be completely different, because what could be going on? Either the session is really big, there's 250 people in the session and you don't get to talk anyway, so you drift off, you get bored. But it could also be that you are back-to-back in a gazillion meetings and you really need to answer that email right now. So you're so full that you don't have time to actually do other things. And that's a completely different conversation. One is the meetings are too big, and the other conversation is that we are back-to-back in meetings and we don't have focus time. So based on, that's the narrative that can come from the actual numbers.
Exactly.
And we help you discover that story.
Exactly, and the insight discovery is really valuable, and it's also really the starting point, because maybe you think like it's a small thing or it's an extra thing or so, but no, it's a thing that's really fully focused around your company, I would say, and about the things that are happening in life at the moment. Most of the times during the workshop, the main point is, okay, pre-COVID, after COVID time, compare those times with each other. How can we still be resilient also as a company? That's mostly the starting point. But after some time, you also want to get knowledge within your organization. How can we understand those dashboards? That's what we do then, training your employees. And again, further as a next step is more the advanced analysis. Okay, we've seen during the first sessions these kind of insights. Let's dive one step further, or combine it with how are we focused with our customers. Yeah. How do we work with them, for example?
And the training of your employees also means that we really like it when you need us, but we can totally imagine that you would also like to have somebody within your organization who is able to run a query and create a dashboard and take the information from there. So we also train your employees to become a workplace analytics analyst.
Exactly. We've done a study, so it's fun. But about the training, I think that's pretty logical. But about last one, two steps further, I would say, that really goes into questions like, okay, how is it about diversity and inclusion in our organization, or the agility or operations, and how effective are we? There are definitely topics about itself that are already big enough to tackle that one and have a full change project around that.
We usually see that right now many people are looking at meeting culture. That's something that that's the forest fire. That's something that may be going on, or facility management. Where are we going to place our people, like physically, when they come back to the office? Those are usually starting points. But from there on, as we said earlier, you at some point when the first forest fires are out, you're going to look at the future. So how can we make sure that our customer focus is better? How can we make sure that our return to work site is going smoothly? So that's basically the next step that we're going through.
Definitely, yeah. So I think we can talk a lot about that more and more. But I would say the main point is it's all about the people. It's all about the teams, and how can we make sure we empower them to be their best. And the world changed, that's what we know, but also the IT part changed. And what a lot of people now need, they don't need just CRM or ERP or some kind of system like that, but also systems really focused around the employee. That's an employee experience platform, and Microsoft delivers that using Microsoft Viva. If you take a look at what those kind of platforms need, or what the customer of the employee needs, it are six main pillars. It's around well-being, it's about focus, it's about empowerment, it's about the connection, it's about growth, and it's about purpose. And let's zoom a little bit in that. I think the first one around well-being, we're doing a lot about that. That's not just physical, but also mental, also emotional. It are a lot of facts that together makes that important thing around well-being.
Yeah. And what the platform can also do, Microsoft Viva, we're going into it a little bit further, is it has a place where you can check on your well-being, but it also has a place where you can find knowledge, where you can send out announcements and talk to people, be in touch with each other, find the knowledge that everybody is searching for, that we saw at the beginning of this presentation. We spend so much time finding information. If you have all those 6 pillars together in one place, then you can actually start making an employee experience. And one of the things, what we think is that does wonders for the well-being. And
Exactly.
of course the rest, but
Exactly.
yeah.
So it's the combination. That's all the things that an employee needs, or that your people need. And Microsoft delivered that using Microsoft Viva, and they present it using 4 pillars, starting with culture and communications. That's in Viva Connections. The next one is the insights part. That's productivity and well-being. I would say 90% of what we talked about is fully inside Microsoft Viva Insights. The other one is about topics.
Yep.
And topics is regarding, okay, I'm for example new to the company, I see a lot of abbreviations. I have no idea what that 3-letter abbreviation means, and I can ask someone, but maybe I'm working not at the office at the moment. And what Viva Topics can help you is provide you with an answer directly to that abbreviation, what it means, and also say, okay, Kelly, for example, works with that topic and works together with Jeroen. So it combines everything. It makes it easier for you to find the information directly when you need it, and also, when it's...
So it's a knowledge base, basically, but
Yeah.
connected to people.
Exactly.
So if I set up my profile that I'm really good with Microsoft Viva, and a colleague is looking for Microsoft Viva, they will know that I can help them.
Yeah. And I think the difference is, normally maybe you would see something and you would search for it on the internet, or maybe call someone, and now it's simply an email, or it's a chat in Microsoft Teams, and there it recognizes the word and already shows you what the explanation is. And I think that's definitely the biggest change. You don't have to switch back and forth, and that's also the thing regarding Teams as a platform. Providing it all in one place.
Yeah.
That's a great thing.
And these are these 4 modules that we start with, right? Connection, insights, topics, and learning. What you will see over time is that there will be other Viva type products, so busy on that. And we will be starting with insights and learning real quickly, so watch out for that. I think in the beginning of April, or in the month of April, we will see that Viva Insights will be coming your way. And also learning is just around the corner. The others will be 1 or 2 months later. So watch out for that. Learning is really cool because you can also see the Microsoft Learning and LinkedIn Learning content that's available. And we have also partners who are developing content in learning management systems. So really cool to see what we can happen there, and especially around insights, looking at productivity, well-being through WPA, Workplace Analytics and My Analytics is really cool. If you want to learn more about this, Microsoft Viva will be hosting a session on the 10th of May. You get some information from that later on, where we do more of a myth-busting type of session around Microsoft Viva. What is it and what is it not? So more info will be shown there. So back over to you, Harold.
Yeah, let's do
Viva
that. One of the things that I hear about Viva is it a totally new product, and I think that's an important thing to understand. No, it's fully delivered to the employee within Microsoft Teams. So if you take a look at the screenshot on the right, you see 2 things, both regarding Microsoft Viva Insights, and it tells you a lot about the things that we talked about today. Yeah. We talked about the personal insights, the manager, the leader, and the operational insights, and they all come in one Insights app inside Microsoft Teams. And I think that's the power of it, delivering it to the people.
It used to be, of course, what I said earlier, that if you wanted to see your insights and you would go to the Cortana mail in your inbox, or you would have to go to a separate dashboard, which, you know, is perfect and fine, but it would be so nice if you're working in Teams all day, any day, every day anyway, that you just click on the insights option and you actually see what is going on. So there you can book your focus time, and there you have suggestions that you should follow up on that meeting invitation, or that it gives you an idea that maybe it's a good idea to plan in a one-on-one with your manager because it's about time. Those settings you can all set up by yourself. So you have one place to go for all your needs, and yeah, basically have an experience.
Yeah, I think that's the value of it. Also think about new hires, onboarding them and talking about all the systems that we have and they have to learn. I think they are mostly really happy when they are at the couch at the end of the day, and they think, okay, tomorrow is another onboarding day, and just now learning one system, because that's the idea of it, having just one platform, Microsoft Teams, there are some apps in it, but then if a thing is going on regarding insights, you get a push notification. If it's something to learn, you get a push notification. Just all in one app, and more at the IT part or the privacy part or the security part, it's all in one single Microsoft 365 environment. And you have already that ecosystem, so you have the things that you trust still on one location. So I think that's great. More visualized a little bit. All those, at the moment, 4 pillars, fully delivered in one Microsoft Viva of Microsoft Teams platform. I think that's great, because we already know how to have online events using Teams, and also more and more getting into Teams. And it doesn't matter where your CRM or ERP data comes from. So that's valuable.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, what we do is also further in that, we're working on Microsoft Viva as a partner to help Microsoft to deliver it also to the customers. And now those 4 pillars are over there, and still the employee, the people, that's the main focus, delivering it to them. And underneath it, I would say, are a lot of other things that are related to that. You must be sure that your security is right, your identities are right. Who is Harold, and is Harold really the person who he says he is? Adoption and change management, the thing that you do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all that you need, and to make sure that really works. And but the value is that really the employee has just one thing to learn. I think that's great.
Yeah. And then what? So this all sounds really good. We can help you with a lot of things. We can make sure that if you are implementing Viva or just Insights, we can help you with that. But how can we do this? Well, thank you for clicking the button, Harold. We offer workplace analytics consulting services. You see the link over here. It will be shared in the chat as well.
Yeah,
having a look at
sure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we will deliver it to you.
And we have more information there on what we can do for you, and how we can help you start up your whole 10-week implementation on how to implement workplace analytics within your organization. And of course, after those 10 weeks, we can go deeper, we can go further, but that would be the next step then.
Exactly, that's one of the things that we can do, having that 10-week approach.
Yeah.
The other thing that we already talked about, 9 out of 10 times we just start with this one, the Insight Discovery Workshop, and having a step-by-step approach to make sure you start with the most important thing and decide what to do then next.
Yeah. So if you are interested in an Insight Discovery Workshop to have a look at what it can mean for your organization, let us know. We'd be happy to host a session for you.
Definitely. So yeah, that's the most important part. It's all about empowering the people and the teams to be their best. And at the end, it flows into Microsoft Teams, but still the value is how can we make sure we have those people and we keep them. So that's it.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, thank you for that, Harold and Kelly, for this. Let's just switch gears on what you can do also as next steps from a Microsoft perspective. If you're interested in this and you want to learn more, please reach out to us. You can reach out to Kelly or to Harold, as you just learned, but also to a Microsoft representative. And he or she can help you get into speed with this, making sure that you're able to get the right information and help you out on doing more with workplace analytics and how to get workplace analytics and how to use my analytics. We have these workshops, these Discover workshops that you can do. eOffice is also a partner who does the Teamwork Discover workshop, but also will be doing the Knowledge and Insight workshop that will be available soon and already have their own Discover workshop, so watch out for that. Other things, if you want to start with Teams as a platform and you want to build solutions, that's something, it's a different gear, but okay. You can then go to the Cloud Accelerator workshops that we have available for you around solution and apps, so that's something to watch out for. If you need more information or you want to have more information, you can check out our M365 blog. It's available for you. And also, we want to hear from you. So if you have any good ideas what you can do with Microsoft Teams, Outlook, OneNote, whatsoever, any Microsoft product, please use user voice. We check that. You can say, well, I like this idea. Maybe it's good to develop this. Then it's voting time, so people start voting on your solution. And if we can build it and it has a lot of votes, then we will be able to build it for you and implement it into our products. These sessions that you're watching today, but also from yesterday and the day before that, they're available on aka.ms/taap sessions, so TAAP sessions, as you can see the link over here. And also if you want to register for the other sessions that will be coming starting from Monday again, you can register for the Dutch sessions on aka.ms/taap webinars_NL, and for the English sessions you do _EN. And with that, I would like to thank Harold and Kelly again for being here today. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us. Have a safe trip home. I hope there's no traffic for you. I just learned you have a 2-hour drive, so hopefully it's good for you. And for you as a viewer, thank you so much again, and hope to see you next week for another session. Thank you and have a good weekend. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.